I was feeling in a way that I am not using my qualification the way I should be. And there was always a thing in me that I wanted to do it better, what more I can do. I don't want to be like a tick box, ticking boxes and then just keep doing what you're doing. But I always like to challenge myself. Is there something that I can do better?
Hi everyone, on today's episode I am speaking to Adam Ahmed, who's a franchise owner of Jim's Building Inspections from Lidcombe.
Negative thoughts will always give you the logical reason why you cannot achieve what you want to achieve. There are 3 golden rules and a diamond rule: planning, timing, execution, but the diamond rule is discipline. So you can't achieve anything if you don't have the discipline to go out and do it.
Hey Adam, thanks for joining me on my podcast today. I'd first like to start by getting you to introduce yourself to the audience and your business.
Thanks Phil. Thanks for inviting me to your podcast. I'm Adam. I'm the building inspector, a franchise owner for Jim's Building Inspections.
Good old Jim's.
The Jim's, yeah.
Excellent. Before we talk about your business and the Jim's franchise, I'd like you to share to the viewers what you were doing prior to running your own business.
I've done few jobs. I was with the Woolworths Online. Then I moved into local government, where I was in regulatory compliance. I've studied the government investigations because regulatory compliance needs you to investigate, and that's where I started developing liking for the construction, and that's where I studied building surveying. And from there, I started into looking into my options. So the thing that came to my mind was, as I was studying building surveying, I could see there's a gap in the market where, instead of like from the local government compliance background, I wanted to help people. So instead of telling them what to do, I actually wanted to guide them, help them. And that's what one of the ideas that, okay, how I can do it. So the building surveying was part of the certification where you certify the work and all of that. And then there's a lot of issues in the construction industry, as you can see. There's a lot of NCAT cases, and the clients are not happy with the new construction, and there are a lot of issues with the trades at the moment. They're not licensed, or the work is not done up to the standard. So there are a lot of issues with that. But the thing that triggered me to do this transition from public service to start my business was the gap where I was feeling in a way that I am not using my qualification the way I should be. And there was always a thing in me that I wanted to do it better, what more I can do. Workplace, yes, you work in a corporate environment. There's a workplace that's politics and whatnot. Those were one of the factors playing in my mind as well.
You hate dealing with all that shit, huh?
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. The workplace politics, local government, everything is local. There's a lot going on. And then I thought that, okay, so there's a lot I could do, but I wasn't able to do that because of the limitations, and my role wasn't allowing me to do it.
Can you just talk a little bit more about your role in the local government? What were you doing specifically there?
So regulatory compliance. Yeah. So it was mainly the regulatory compliance work, but that was my main role. I wanted to transition out. I wanted to spend more time, how I can do it. So the options that I was thinking, okay, start new, go independent, looked at the franchise models, which is going to work, what's been working, what's not been working. And so I stumbled onto Jim's, and I did a bit of research on that okay, so they've been there. So with the Aussie mindset is we trust brands, and like if you see especially in the construction and the real estate industry, we need to have a good name for client to rely on you and the information what you're giving. And the thing that I check with the gyms is they won't, especially with the building inspections, they won't just, anybody can say, I want to buy a franchise, and say, here you go. It doesn't work like that with them.
Yeah, there's some franchises that will just start handing them out. Right? If you've got money, you can pay a franchise fee, come on in.
Yep. Right. No, that's not with Jim's Building Inspection. There's a filtration process.
So you were working in regulatory compliance.
Yep.
That sounds pretty boring to me. Would you say? Compliance. Every time I hear the word compliance, I'm like, Just like tax compliance, that kills me too. But anything compliance, so you kind of felt like there was more to life
Yep.
in work anyway, than working in a corporate role, doing a 9 to 5, ticking boxes, making sure people were doing things correctly, right?
Exactly. Absolutely.
You then decided, okay, well, you were qualified. What were you qualified in? What did you study? Sorry.
So I'm qualified in the government investigations, and I'm a qualified building surveyor.
When you say government investigations, what's that? Like, are you investigating people? Or are you investigating the government?
No. So that's something that you investigate the complaints the council or the local government receives, and then you have to follow a set method, how you collect your evidence, how you gather it. If the matter goes to the court, how you're going to put your brief of evidence together, what's relevant, what's irrelevant. So it's a course that teaches you how to collect evidence, which
Got it. That makes sense. And then you also did a building surveying
diploma
course.
in building surveying.
Right.
Yep.
Why did you do that whilst you were working? Like, what triggered you to go, hey, let me
Because I was dealing with like a lot of like complaints that related to the construction, and I could see the gaps and all of that. People not reading their development consents, what's happening and all of that. So, and that gave me the idea, okay. And I always loved construction. So I always like to build things and see and then make sure they're all right.
So you chose that because it was really to upskill in your current role. Makes sense. And then fast forward a bit of time, you're like, oh, actually, I can actually do something else, right?
Yes.
Or more than just ticking boxes.
Yes, and that was one of the reasons why I don't want to be like a tick box and ticking boxes and then just keep doing what you're doing. I think it's just my personality type. I always like to challenge myself in trying to do slightly differently or something better, and then ask this question, what I can do better every morning. That, okay, I did this yesterday, this worked. Is there something that I can do better? That thing has always been with me forever.
All right, so then from there, you were faced with, or I guess you kind of were sitting and thinking about what else I can do better. And at that point in time, or at a certain point in time, you decided, hey, I can actually go out there and do building inspections.
So what I was actually thinking is, okay, this is funny because I actually studied building surveying because I wanted to be a certifier. However, I'm not into the certification game because of the lot of non-compliance issues with the builders. And in New South Wales, most of the times the builders hire their certifiers when they're building the house. And if there's something that's not compliant, they might ask you to still certify it. That's why we had like a lot of issues in the houses. They don't meet the standards or fail to deem to satisfy. So that's the analogy that's used, that, okay, if this is not working, you have something, you come up with the alternate plan that should be called as deemed to satisfy. If that's not happening, there's always things. And me, I don't operate like that. I have always been honest to my work and to myself. And I always try and see, okay, if I'm into the business and somebody is going to put their life money based on my certification, and will I be able to sleep at night?
No way.
So that's the reason why. So I said, okay, what's the next best thing? All right. And I could still make the similar amount of money and work directly with mums and dads who are willing to buy, who are planning to buy the property, how I can do that. Because one of the intentions was to, instead of telling people what to do, helping them out. So
give them the guidance.
Give them the guidance to make that
decision.
informed decision. That's how the building inspection
came about. Oh, that's interesting. So, I mean, when you had that in mind and you decided, okay, this is how I want to help people, why did you decide to join a franchise like Jim's versus going independent and starting your own brand? Because a lot of people hear about franchises and they think, oh, there's a lot of franchise fees. There's a lot of, it's a big commitment that they've got to sign up to. Whereas starting your own brand, it might not be as costly as an investment. So what went through your mind before deciding to go with Jim's?
Yeah. There were quite a few actually in the market when I was doing my research. So as I was saying earlier to you before the podcast, I did my SWOT analysis. So SWOT analysis is like your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. So on the board, you write that down. So you put S and then you write down what all your strengths are. All right, well, I've got a qualification. I've got the experience. I'm honest. Write down. What are your weaknesses? Okay, I have a job,
What are your
stable
weaknesses?
income, but the weakness is what happens, I have a mortgage. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And the opportunities, our Sydney market is growing. I can make myself get into the market. Sydney market is growing. There'll always demand. The construction is always bricks and mortar. You never lose. So you put that. Threats, competition. I might not be able to penetrate in the market. I might not be able to survive. How I'm going to do no contact. So you write down. So whatever you're planning. So that's something I recommend everyone doing that. If
really
you're
good
planning
tip,
to
good
do
advice.
something. Also, the most important as every finance guy, like you have mentioned a few times as well, have your contingency plan and your emergency fund and have that ready. So in case if that doesn't work, you can still go back to finding a job or something, but your lifestyle, your kids, your family, your mortgage, everything is still going. And then I moved on to doing some research because the opportunity.
You have to
So
research.
I was doing research. There are like different models, different companies giving the whole idea why I chose the franchise business is because the systems are already tried, tested. They're in the market. They have the name, the brand is there.
That's right.
The support is there. And then you need to have a franchisor that you click with. You know what I mean? If that relationship is not there, then you have like a lot of roadblocks. So you need to find the right franchisor as well. There's like right mindset. Okay, you like each other. Can you work together? Though like as a franchise owner, you will have your employees and whatnot, but you're still working closely with your franchisor. And then when I did the research, I think like gyms is, and not because I'm with gyms and I'm trying to say that, and I'm being honest, they have like one of the fairest contracts out there, franchise agreements. They're very fair, and the support is there because in gyms has,
Which is massive, yep.
which is massive, and the gyms building inspections is one of the biggest companies in Australia and New Zealand. So the brand name is there. The people rely, because if somebody new is coming in the market, nobody knows you. Why would they rely on you?
That's right.
And gyms gives that peace of mind to client that, okay, if Adam has done something wrong, if I've done something wrong and I'm not their franchisee anymore, they will send out somebody to fix it. So the people will have that peace of mind. That doesn't mean that, okay, I'm not going to do it, because you still have to meet that standards. Internal survey results that goes out to the customers directly to you have already provided the service to, and you have internal audits that's going on that you have to be compliant with that. So there's a lot of systems in place already, and you need that. So and you know, as you work with a lot of franchise owners as well, it's not easy to break into the market. You're taking care of your marketing, your sales, your leads.
Got to do everything, yeah, that's right.
You got to be like everything, which is like way too much in the initial stages. So that's one of the reasons why. So when I did the research and whatnot, I went to Melbourne for a catch up. There were 3 days orientation and all that. I really liked the system.
Yep.
And then, yeah, it was a calculated risk, but yeah, it worked out better.
I mean, just to go back a little bit, before you decided to get into business, I think you shared really good advice there, and that was to do a SWOT analysis.
Yep.
Work out what your strengths are, your weaknesses are, the opportunities and the threats before actually getting into that business. You also then spoke about having a contingency plan. So obviously speaking to your family members, or maybe it's just yourself, but understanding how long you have to take this risk. Right? Like financially, right? It might be 6 to 12 months where you can really go at this business opportunity or this business idea and then actually try and make something out of it. And if you don't, you fail, well, you can just go back to
work.
your job and ticking boxes.
Yep.
Right. Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. And then, yeah, you can always try. If that hasn't worked, it doesn't go to what is you always learn. So if the business failed first time, that doesn't mean that you're a failure. You shouldn't be doing it again.
That's right.
You learn from those things. Okay, what did I do wrong? So you get back to your SWOT analysis again.
That's really good, actually. I haven't heard that one in a while. I remember SWOT analysis. We We used to do that in business studies in year 9. That's a whole long time ago, and a little bit in university as well. But yeah, no, that's really, really good. I've spoken to you and other people about, you know, when you're getting into business, or when people have an idea of getting into business, you know, there's so many different ideas that go through your mind. But a lot of the times you don't take action because you think about how much it costs, how much time you have to invest, you know, the commitment. You think about all these things. And one of those other things is, what business should I do? Because you're thinking about it quite a lot, you don't really take action, because then you put it in the too hard basket.
Yep.
And you don't do anything about it. But I think getting into a franchise, as you mentioned, is, well, I mean, look, getting into business, I think, is the quickest way to financial stability. And for those who are thinking about getting into business, have a look at a good franchise, maybe like a gym's.
Yep.
Because that is, as you mentioned before, you're walking into an established brand. You're walking into a brand or a business that already has the structure, where it's you've got the sales, the marketing,
Yep.
you know, the operations, the training manual. People are going to train you on how to do things. And the support as well is there for you. You know, people like yourself who are more experienced will help the new guys in training and giving them advice as to what they should and shouldn't do. And so I think if anyone's out there thinking about getting into a business, looking at a franchise is a good way to get in and potentially be profitable in the first year. And, you know, you don't really have to wear all those hats immediately, where I'm talking about, you know, the sales, the marketing, the operations, all those things. It's kind of like a ready-made business, ready to go. You just need to go in there with the right mindset and actually work hard and do well.
I cannot agree more the way you have put it in. I cannot agree more on that. Yeah, sometimes things will happen where every business has got periods where it just goes up, it slows down a bit. Negative thoughts kick in. Oh, am I making, this week I didn't get this, or my plan. So negative thought, always use it to your advantage. That's what I have learned over a period of time, because negative thoughts will always give you the logical reason why you cannot achieve what you want to achieve. Like, for example, if I say, I want to buy a Maserati, say, yeah, beautiful car, more positive thought, Maserati is amazing, I want to get that. But the negative thought kicks in. You can't buy it because you don't have A, B, C, D, E. And then that negative thought has given me kids, mortgage, financial commitments, you got a job, this, A, B, C. So, okay, I've listed down that, but so it depends, comes back to me, how bad I want that Maserati.
Bad.
Really bad? Then, yeah, you have to solve those 4 A, B, C, D, and then Maserati is yours.
Yeah.
So the negative thought will always give you the logical reasoning. And that's what I say. The positive thinking, the power of positive thinking is to use your negative thoughts to have that positive outcome. And that's what I say. A lot of people are sitting on the edge, standing like, should I start the business? Not to start the business. Take the risk? Not to take the risk. And I was the same. I did about a year's time. It took me about a year to make that decision. But planning, as I say to my everyone, the 3 golden rules and a diamond rule is your planning, timing, execution. But the diamond rule is discipline. So you can't achieve anything if you don't have the discipline to go out and do it. So you got to plan. So do something that you're passionate about. That's what sort of business, people still ask me, hey, what sort of business, Adam, should I start? And I tell them to find something that you're passionate about and see if there's a need in the market.
Painting.
There are paintings that goes for like millions and whatnot, but yeah, most of the painters are dead. And
It's
after
tough.
that,
It just depends, right? But I get what you're saying. You gotta love what you do, because ultimately, if you're gonna try and make a business out of it, it's gonna be something that you enjoy, or that you may not love, but you like at least.
Yep.
And you know, you're not gonna hate doing it.
Absolutely. And I feel that day in and day out, because the whole idea is I like construction and I wanted to help people. So when I get that, I go out on site to buildings, inspecting. So I love what I'm doing. And then when I get that positive, that 5-star review, feels amazing. When people call and I always make sure after I send the report, I schedule the time with the client.
Yeah.
I call them. So I explain them what it is, where it is, why it's a problem and what they can do to fix it. So I give them this. And then the thankfulness that what they give you is, I'm so grateful for explaining this and all of that. That makes my day.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm happy.
That you do it.
I'm achieving both what I always wanted.
Yeah. No, that's good. I mean, a lot of building inspectors that I've come across, they give me a report and here it is. Call me if you have any questions, right? They don't do what you do and actually schedule that time in to speak to everyone after every report is issued. So good on you, Adam. Well done. I just want to go back as well. You mentioned something earlier about the fair contract terms in the gym's franchise. I've dealt with quite a lot of franchisees or franchisers. For a big business or a franchisor, those that are looking to franchise out and to expand, a lot of them, they go down that that route of growth because they want to grow the brand. And that's a way to quickly grow the brand. And a lot of them make the mistake of selling franchise areas to franchisees too quickly. They'll let anyone buy in and they'll also grow, or they'll have many areas available so they can really just grow their brand and really fill their pockets, right? So there are a lot of bad, and why I'm saying that is because there are a lot of franchises out there that just look out for themselves initially and they don't provide that support. They are charging quite a lot in initial franchise fees to get in. They'll charge quite a lot of fees ongoing. So we're talking about, franchise monthly management fees, for example, or marketing fees, royalty fees on the top line, which, hurts the franchisee's bottom line. So there's a lot of they're effectively collecting money. And, the ones that are holding the bag are the franchisees, the poor mum and dads who want to make a buck and who want to, do something for themselves. A lot of them are left holding the bag and they then, are in financial disarray. Their life goes to shit, right? So there's a lot of franchises that have really taken advantage of that. There are some good ones, and I think gyms is one of the better ones. Can you talk about, if you don't mind sharing, some of the or some of the reasons why you decided to go with gyms in terms of the contract and the terms that they gave you?
The good thing with gyms is they don't charge you any royalty. They're one of the biggest brands in Australia, but they don't charge you any royalty. They don't take commission out of your work. If you bring in your own work, they won't charge you anything for it. They charge you for the lead fee when they find the work and send the lead your way, and that's a lead fee only. And yes, we do contribute towards, because building inspection, we have a custom app for our unit. So we do, have a marketing fund and IT support. But again, even if I go independent, I still have to spend that money.
Correct.
But here, everything is taken care of.
Yeah.
My digital marketing has been taken care of. My Google reviews, when clients put the reviews, there's somebody
IT systems and the automation
and all of that. So everything has been taken care of, and it's not exorbitantly high where it's gonna kill the mom and dad. It's not gonna be like, it's not an exploiting system. The system is designed in a way that they want to grow as well. So if I, that's why they say, if you want to start a franchise, like for example, you're going to a cleaning franchise, the building inspections, and you go through the filtration process, and they send you out to one of the independent franchisees like myself, and then people come out, they call, ask, because when they call the franchisor and they want to speak to a franchisee, they give out the number, they call and they ask questions. Hey Adam, how's going and how's things and what do you think of? And I tell them like, yeah, it's great, because I wouldn't be doing it if I say I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? It is good. And then I always say, yeah, gyms is pretty good. Do your research. Always get back to your drawing board, write, because writing down, you'll remember, you can do a follow-up. Talk to people, call the head office, talk to people. I think that they have been one of the fairest franchise agreements that you can find. And this is not what I'm saying, because I have got the opinion from a commercial lawyer. And she mentioned the same thing, that, okay, they're pretty all right.
Yeah.
Compared to all the other ones that you have mentioned and all the other ones, this is one of the good ones.
We won't mention any names. No, that's really good actually, because I think you mentioned having a commercial lawyer as well, reviewing those contract terms to make sure that it's favorable for you.
Yep.
Or at least if there's anything unfavorable, you can go, well, actually, I don't want to commit to this. You mentioned that so gyms don't really charge ongoing fees. It's really the marketing costs,
Franchise
any leads.
fees, marketing, your franchise fee, which is part of that, not very exorbitantly high, but it's compared to the business that you're in, and then your income and whatnot. So it's not exorbitantly high. So you got a franchise fee, you get your IT support, and then your marketing fund and all of that. So you will get the proper breakdown of what's going where.
Yep.
And then the franchisor will give you an option every year, like the franchisees that we want to get the marketing fund audited or not every year.
Right. Okay. So there's transparency as well
Absolutely.
with that, in terms of where your funds are going, because
Absolutely.
Obviously it's, you're paying that, but they're supposed to be using that fund to then actually invest in the marketing or invest in the IT, so you actually can see where that money is going.
Absolutely.
Excellent. What about initial costs up front?
I think it's not it depends what franchise, because it's not flat fee for every business.
Right.
Because gyms got mowing, cleaning, and dog wash. There's so many. There are multiple services.
Yeah, everyone's saying
and then everyone's got their pricing differently. And where there's like technical, like building inspections and all of that, where it's high technical and whatnot, obviously the franchise fee is going to be a bit higher compared to a cleaning or a mowing franchise. That's
for your business itself. What's the range of initial, including the franchise fee itself? But what was the initial upfront money that you had to put up front to get going?
Okay, for me, it took a while, because the way I counted it, all right, because for me to start this business, I need to have the qualification. So that was the money that I put towards my business.
Yep.
So get the qualification. And I had to spend the money to buy the franchise. Though you pay the franchise fee before you start, you have to still pay off the whole thing, but you pay in installments. Okay, the first you sign the contract, you're sending about this much, and then there's stage 2 and stage 3. The vehicle, you have to have an appropriate vehicle for the job.
Right.
So all of that expenses. So for us, we can't put a thing on a sedan. For an SUV, yes, it is acceptable. For a ute.
Yeah, you don't see like you
Yeah.
don't see like a Corolla running around to inspect the house.
The vehicle is not fit for the purpose.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Okay, so is there a range of the initial fee to join gyms though for you yourself?
So they will give you the overall breakdown that the sign-up contract, you pay 10,000,
20,000, 30,000.
10,000. Then I don't quote me 100% because it's been a while.
No, just the range.
It's just the range. You pay, I think, 10 or 15 grand initially.
Yeah.
Then you go for the training. Then you pay another 10, 15 grand, and then final payment. So something like that. Because though you have the experience, you still have to go to the training.
Of course.
So the gyms will call you. You have to go to the CRBI training we call, so they will treat you the ways and what's important for the client, how to do the reports, all of that. So for every service, you have to go, get trained, then supervised and all of that.
Yeah, the reason why I was asking is because, there are a lot of franchises out there that you can get into. Some of them are actually quite high to jump into. We're talking maybe $500,000, even more than that. You're buying into, you've got to buy, it might be a truck, it might be stock that you have to buy initially, or it might be a warehouse that you need to buy, a shop front, for example, fit outs, all that. That could cost a few $100,000. Whereas gyms, for example, a lot of them are, you don't need an office space. So you can pay that $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 up front, get your training. You can buy a car, a ute, for example. A used ute might cost you $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. You could always finance that. So the initial upfront cost to get into a gyms is not that high compared to the other type of franchises,
Absolutely.
And so
the building inspection is not going to be 30,000 or 40,000. It's way higher than that. So you can range. If you want to get into the building inspections, I would say if you're buying the ute as well, so keep it about.
Excluding the ute, what's it going to cost you to get in?
I think it's about 80 grand.
Okay.
80
and you can pay that over time as well.
Pay that over the time, but before you start. I think it's about that range. And then you buy a ute or SUV or whatever.
Does Jim offer any vendor finance?
Yes.
Okay, so that's good as well. Because,
So, yeah.
you know, a lot of people that do want to get into business, a franchise as well, some franchise, you know, how can you come up with $80,000 or how can you come up with, you know, X amount of dollars? So there are a lot of franchises that will help the franchisees or the potential franchisee get in by providing them finance. So that's really, really good to...
Yeah, Jim's has got that. Pretty much everything is like in-house. You get the insurance, you can get the finance, you can get the business finance, vehicle finance. They have that, all that. And that's the reason why before you make up your mind, they invite you for orientation. So they invite you to Melbourne, stay there for 3 days. They do that 3-day orientation with different businesses, and different franchisors will come and talk about how things work and what Jim has to offer, and then compare it to this. So that's why you do your research, put 2 and 2 together.
Awesome. So you're 2 years into gyms now. Could you just share some of the experiences you had, whether they were any, you know, I guess any wins you've had, any challenge, any losses that you've experienced?
I wouldn't say like losses. It's been a happy-go-lucky journey so far, which is great. Touch wood, and I want to keep it like that and grow from there. Can't say like losses or anything as such. Wins, yes. My wins have been my clients and the referrals that I get from doing that work, and the respect you get, like when you wear like a gym's brand, and then when you step out of that, and then the respect, because people know that, okay, this guy, so he's a professional, he's licensed, he's insured, he's police checked, he ticks all the boxes, and then the people rely on that information, and then you build from there. So, and then ultimately it will come down to you, your personality, all right? And then if you don't treat the customers well, the customer service part is not there, then it's very hard out there for you. Some people don't like to talk to the customers. We are there because of them. We're in the service industry. So you have to have that mindset that, yes, customer is the king. Try and help them out, make that informed decision. I'm talking about from the building inspections perspective. Make that informed decision. So far has been the wins. A lot of wins. And I'm happy because I have the freedom, you know what I mean? I have the freedom to set my schedule. I'm spending more time with my kids. Kids are happy about it. I do school runs 1 day a week. I set my calendar. I have the financial freedom. So as I need more, I can get more work, or I want to slow down, where I want to take a break. And then, that's more wins, I can say.
Oh, excellent. And I'm assuming this wouldn't be possible if you were still ticking boxes at the local government office.
No way. And that's what I said to everyone who has been thinking of taking that leap of faith. Do it, because in this life, this time is not going to come back again. If something is in your mind that you want to work, reach out to people, but reach out to people who you think that going to give you a genuine advice, because a lot of people have this negative thing that, okay, they failed. And don't be a victim of sheep syndrome. That's what I said. Don't be a victim of sheep syndrome, because if you see somebody like running restaurants, for example, and he's got 20 restaurants and he's doing great, that's his passion. That's what he worked for. And then if I'm not somebody who I can see, like, because I can be true to myself, that am I going to be good in hospitality? If my answer is no, then I'm not going to be a victim of sheep syndrome, that I'm going to chase that. I still want to open a restaurant, and I still want to open a takeaway shop or a coffee shop. I wouldn't do that. So that's what I recommend. Don't be a victim of sheep syndrome, and just go out and then ask the right people and have the positive people around you. Do your SWOT analysis and have your emergency fund, most important, because that's where a lot of problems start. Finance. Yes, money is not the only thing, but it is the very important thing in life. Because we still have to maintain the life standard, the mortgage, and all of that. We can't say bank that, I'm following my passion, can you not charge me? So it doesn't work like that.
AGL, can you not charge me the electricity water,
bills,
please don't
everything.
charge me the wallet. That's right.
So it's not going to work like that.
Yeah.
And then what happens, once you have that peace of mind, then you can focus with a lot of energy and all of that. And then you can go out and try.
That's right. Your focus determines your reality.
Yep.
Adam, thank you for jumping on this podcast and sharing your experience. You're a legend.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Phil. It was a pleasure.
So if you're about to begin your business journey or you're currently going through your business journey, tune into future episodes so that you can learn more and find a supportive community. Otherwise, follow me on LinkedIn for more.